No. Everything looks great. I love the way the direction everything is going. I think most of my worries are within classes, class skills, balancing. And a lot of it is going to be about the world and the world itself and how it interacts. And I won't really know until I play it, because they're definitely not going to be like, they're putting leashes on lore. They're putting leashes on like what the game is actually going to be about. And that's normal, right? For game development, you don't want to come out with everything.
Don't forget that if you are subscribed to our YouTube channel and follow us on all of the places.
How will weapon skills place into class plus subclass? If I play cleric/rogue, i.e. shadow disciple who uses a dagger, will I be able to augment the active dagger skills too? Well, okay. If yes, how exactly will they be augmented? Since my example with a shadow disciple, the augmentation solely happens via the rogue class, but dagger plus rogue is not cleric-y. Will they be augmentable by the character archetype or even both? Well, I think this is a pretty uneducated question that they picked. First off, augments only affect archetypes. They don't affect weapons or weapon skills. And any class or archetype can carry any type of weapon. So, and Shadow Disciple. We're going to look up the Ashes wiki here. It's this little picture right here. I don't know if you guys can see it. This thing. Let me move this over a little bit. So you have your primary archetype right here, which is just, you know, whatever class you pick. So Shadow Disciple, he's looking at rogue something. Oh, cleric into rogue. Okay, so he's asking in this particular example, augment the active dagger skills too. If so, how exactly? Since in my example with the Shadow Disciple, the augmentation solely happens via the rogue class. But dagger plus rogue is not cleric-y. Where will they be augmentable by the main archetype or even both? So yeah, basically the weapon in itself has its own so the dagger will have its own skill tree that it's assigned to, and then your actual skills in your actual archetype with your secondary archetype, which would be primary cleric, secondary rogue. You will have the cleric spells, and then the rogue will augment those cleric spells, but it won't have an effect on the weapon. So,
if you subscribe to us on YouTube and leave a comment on our dev update one specifically, you could be spotlighted, or your comment could be. And so for today's spotlight, we have the Lawrence 1970, who has said, how will weapon skills play into a class plus subclass? I think he means IE here. If I will play a cleric/rogue, i.e. Shadow Disciple, who uses a dagger, will I be able to augment the dagger or the active dagger skills too? If yes, how exactly will they be augmented? Since in my example with the Shadow Disciple, the augmentation solely happens via the rogue class, but dagger plus rogue, it's not cleric-y. Will they be augmentable by the main archetype or even both?
Okay, this is.
I think they're a little confused.
Yeah, well, okay. let me clarify. This is a very big and complex question. So let me just go through real quick as a reminder. And obviously, before I get into that, I just want to say Lex at the Ashes Wiki has done a great job in compiling so much of the information that we have over the years provided with regards to the design of the game.
This is actually Lex's
and
wiki.
Always make sure you're utilizing that resource when you have questions of these types. But you can also engage with the community, because there are a lot of long-standing members of the community who are very familiar with the game designs as well. Those things are all subject to change because we're still in active development. But what I will tell you is that the intent behind the augment system is not to provide new active abilities. They're intended to augment existing active abilities that are provided through your primary archetype. And so your secondary archetype selection completes your class selection, of which there's 64 types. And you get augment skills that can apply certain attributes and mechanics to your existing active skills. So if you have certain abilities.
To explain, these are your active skills. These will augment your active skills. So if you are primary mage and you go into fighter at like level 25, I believe it is, when you can pick your secondary archetype, you'll become a battle mage, which will allow you to do like all your normal mage abilities, but will be influenced by the fighter augmentation. Meanwhile, if you're a fighter, you're going to be mainly a fighter, but you will be able to cast mage-like spells with mage augmentations, such as maybe like the lightning sword or whatever that they were suggesting that a mage could do. So it's going to be pretty robust. I'm going to be really excited to test this in A2.
Like a backstab as a rogue primary archetype, and you take that healer secondary archetype selection. Now the properties of your backstab will still remain the same as an active ability. However, it might include things like lifesteal, right? Or it might include things like susceptible weakness to the target and reduces their healing, because the definition
cool.
of what those
that's
augments are intended
sick.
to provide based on the archetype selected for the augments
for like a rogue
is
cleric.
within the schools of magic that live for that archetype. So a cleric is about, balancing life and death and the control of those types of hit points. Now, you mentioned also in there that weapon skills, and I'm not sure if you're referring to primary abilities, active abilities that live in the archetype's adventuring skill tree, or if you're talking about weapon skill trees. Weapon skill trees are a little bit different. Weapon skill trees are skill trees that you can unlock and invest points into as you continue to develop your experience with certain weapon types, certain weapon groups, like a dagger. And when you're doing your basic combo attack with those weapons, which is universal for all classes, anybody can use any type of weapon because stats can be changed on these weapon types through crafting and through drops. There will be certain proc effects that live on the weapon skill tree as you advance in them. And those proc effects will be able to interact with your archetype skills because they will have promotion type effects that occur when they synergize with one another. So hopefully that answers your question and gives you some insight there. But always I would recommend taking a look at the wiki. There's a lot of great information there.
Of those. So thank you so much for everybody who sent us submissions. You guys voted on which recipes you wanted, and
yeah, that looks good.
It was really cool seeing
hey, look
some
at
of them
Narc.
made.
Mr.
I watched
Shocks.
Narc's video that he did as his profession as a baker, and I thought he did a great job. Look at Shaka Khan; those look great.
Gamer.
Wow!
Yeah, the glowing ones
Wow,
really
Mr. Shocks.
Cool too,
Is he a gourmet chef?
Oh
Look at all
gosh.
these. These are great.
Also a meal.
I don't know if I like what's in that drink though.
Wow, look at these.
Hey,
these are
Shadow Flame.
Unbelievable.
They're
and
in my
such
guild.
Great picture taking here. Oh, Nicholas, wow. These look good. I'm starving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like ramen.
Like, it's lunchtime.
I'm starving. Oh, look at the doggo.
Yeah. I love the setup of some of these. They're so pretty.
Wow, we have got some amazing photographers.
Ooh,
we've got some Instagram experienced.
Yeah, Zara's got like the little skull in there. It's so good. But yeah, thank you all so much. We loved seeing these. The team did. We were originally not sure how many people would participate with that, but it was really cool seeing it, and we appreciate it.
That was great.
The dev team was just so excited. We're definitely going to have more cool recipes. I know there's been talks.
Oh, I said economy, but I meant
line post launch. So maybe some things that you'll
ecosystem.
See. For those of you who enjoy that kind of stuff. As somebody who enjoys cooking, I love cooking and baking. It was very, very cool seeing that.
God, I hate it.
Thank you.
I gotta do
the
work
last thing that
to
we
eat.
want to remind you guys about, and this is more of less of a reminder, and it's more because we've gotten a lot of questions. The PR inbox was full of questions. CS has been getting questions. I know our community team, Roshan and Vacnar, have been getting questions regarding it. But as you guys know, the shop update, our pre-order packs have ended. We are no longer selling pre-order packs. We did give a plethora of months notice whenever we put them up, but we let you know when they were going to end. And so it's been a long, many, many months that we have let people know in advance. But we tried to give as many reminders as we could, email reminders, social reminders. We tried to do our best, but we do want to let you know that we will continue to engage with the community and content creators to find other ways for folks to get giveaways and things of that sort. So stay tuned for that stuff, especially as we get closer to Alpha 2. And then beyond that, after our internal, or maybe, some of our external testing as well, after we get some, testing that we're satisfied with and we feel like we are able to, service additional testers, we will definitely find more methods for you guys to access the game. It won't be through pre-order packs. It will be through other ways to purchase. But yeah, we'll definitely find ways for you guys too. But we also want to make sure that we can service you well. So if we can't do that, we don't want to open a
and I know
box.
I know it's weird. I have gotten some commentary from my colleagues
They're
within
like,
the
why
industry.
don't you want our money?
Yeah, I know. Well, also from some industry colleagues, I've gotten questions about, wait a minute, you closed your pre-order shop? Like, yes, we want to ensure that the testing is going to go as we anticipate it to, and quality is important to us, obviously, during that. And that's why we found it appropriate and gave ample notice, as Margaret said, to close that pre-order shop. But as the testing continues, we will give you guys updates. So be on the lookout for that. We will update you as testing continues and is successful, which you're about to see some interesting testing here in just a little bit. Yes.
Which, that's a great segue, Stephen. Why don't you kind of take it away? I know maybe you want to do a little prefacing before.
Yes,
preface before the preface.
I love to preface before the preface. I'll preface multiple prefaces within the video, but I preface here in the stream because it's important that you guys understand, obviously, that this is still a work in progress. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what work in progress means. Now, obviously, we as gamers, have not perhaps experienced historically a lot of projects, especially of this size, going through such a unique process of transparent development. It has been something that I'm very glad to see that has picked up a bit over the course of the last several years with more independent studios, which I think is great personally. I think it's great for the industry. I think it's great for the genre and the genres that it applies to. I think it's great for the consumer, the players, to have a voice in that process. That's something that we have tried to champion over the course of our development. And I think our team has done a great job. It is not without its difficulties. Obviously, having to juggle the tasks of showing what you're working on in a digestible format through these types of live streams and updates, while also actively working on the thing that you're trying to ship, is a difficult balance, right? And it can be taxing a bit on the development team. And not only that, but it also can be a great source of reward. And we here at Intrepid, it is the highlight of our development team to watch the community's reactions, to get motivated by your guys' excitement, to have validation in the direction of our design theory and implementation of these different systems. And also, I will say, for our Phoenix Initiative members who are very dedicated individuals to help us test, there was a 10-hour long straight test session that we had on Monday, which was rigorous, to say the least.
10 hours is pretty
as
long.
We continue to move towards Alpha 2, phases of development move from the area of kind of pre-production into production, into polish and getting ready for external testers. Like, those different phases exist. And as we started this year, a lot of the outstanding core feature work that we've been doing has started to transition into let's harden the game systems, let's solidify the interaction.
I think it'll provide valuable feedback for Intrepid, particularly for them to take this information, and anybody that has valuable feedback via me or the comments that you guys provide, that will impact the future of Ashes on what kind of things that the community wants, that they want to implement, and maybe bring up concerns or whatever. But you already know all that, since you've been following Ashes just as long as I have.
Let's address the bugs. Let's address the visuals. Let's start doing some second passes on visual effects and UI, to get it ready to be tested by an external audience of our customers, our players, the people with, whom we're building this game for. And so when you watch this video, I want you to take with a grain of salt, obviously, there are 3 primary areas that still require significant improvement. And it's not difficult improvement. It's just work. It's work that we need to do. We tend to do the more difficult work up front, and that's the feature development. That's the, prototyping and testing of difficult engineering solutions that need to be required. The 3 things I would tell you about that are a work in progress in the video you're going to see are related to the UI, the visual effects, and the character models and the lighting. So those are additional passes that need to be done. So when you're watching, know that we're aware of that, and we are going to address those things, right? Visual soup language that lives in combat, the targeting that's required on player nameplates, the character models and the material usage with the lighting is going through a significant revamp. Be aware that we are aware of those things. We'll be working on those things. But what we're going to show you today, I think, is pretty exciting. It's a very fun system. It revolves around the Caravan PvP that's intended in the world, obviously emphasizing our risk versus reward philosophies when it comes to the ways that players meaningfully interact with one another through PvP, but also our raft system and some water elements that you're going to see included.
Nice.
So take all of that. And as people who might be less engaged with our development view this, because that's the double-edged sword of transparency, be out there and give this message to them so that they're aware we're aware of the things that they're commenting on. And I think that's a very positive.
We're not a launched game.
Yes, that is right. Absolutely.
And also, I see other people telling the PI folks to give them deets. We did allow them to tell people that they have partaken in
we
this.
Do know that
that they did, and we're very
GS
thankful
Guild
for their
leader
assistance.
Andrew and Kayvon
At this time,
was a part of this
going to share any further details about their testing experience.
test, but
there will be a
we
time
were
where
not
we,
able to
unlift
get any
some
information.
NDA elements of
He is
things, but not right now.
lips tight.
Absolutely.
As he should be.
We're ready to play.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
All right, well, while this is prefacing, I'm going to get my food from downstairs. I'm just going to let it play.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another day in Vera. And today we have a pretty exciting showcase for you. I know it's one that many of you have been waiting for quite a while. But before we begin, I do want to provide you with a little bit of our normal reminder that this is still a work in progress. And there are a lot of visual bugs, obviously, work in progress UI and art that you're going to see here, which will continue to improve. But with that being said, and performance as well, with that being said, we're going to take a look today at some PvP. And we're going to talk about PvP specifically in the context of Caravans. And I am joined by some of our glorious developers, all of whom you have heard from in the past. We have one of our glorious senior designers, Mr. Chris. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm just wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you, buddy. I know you've been putting a lot of work into this, and it's great to see it kind of come together here. And I think we're also joined by 2 other glorious designers on the combat side. Bucky, Trat, how you guys doing?
Doing good. Yep, good to be back. And for I've lost count.
many times. So we also have a number of different testers who are going to be joining us, who are assisting in getting ready for Alpha 2. Obviously, Alpha 2, as we announced, is going to be starting in the 3rd quarter of this year.
To your point, Mr. Bigwater, I think there are a lot of ways that Ashes could go wrong.
That work
but there are a lot of ways to fix
and all the crashes and hardening the
things
systems
that could go
as
wrong
we prepare for
in the
Alpha 2.
process. So I think
but
it's
today, like I said, we're going to be
great
talking about a really fun
we are part of the
system
process.
as it relates to Caravans. And one of the most important aspects of Caravans is that There is no reward without significant risk in Ashes of Creation.
Risk and reward,
And
baby.
the caravan system is a particular risk because it is how materials and commodities are transited within the world of Vera. And it's difficult to navigate the world of Vera. It's a large world, and the terrain is not always kind, especially to large vehicles like a caravan. And today we're going to talk about, as you transit this world, if the node structures are not advancing with you and the world state isn't changing and you're not seeing different bridges being constructed, sometimes you might have to ford rivers.
True.
And rivers can be quite the obstruction for you and present some danger. Wow, look at these. Look at this crew. You'll notice that this crew, they all have swords above their head, and they're blue to me, but that's because we've discovered that a caravan is taking the perilous journey nearby and trying to reach a location where they'll be rewarded for all their hard work. But little do they know, we are here waiting for them. And the bandits are going to attempt to take this caravan. Chris, talk to me a little bit about the risk of caravan travel and what people are about to see here.
Yeah, I mean, well, you risk everything you're traveling with when you run a caravan, right? It's definitely way more efficient than running a bunch of goods in your inventory to and from nodes, but it's
because of the Tetris system.
Definitely a lot more dangerous.
Absolutely. Rangers, if you guys want to come over here with me, I've just gotten word that there might be a caravan down here approaching. But they appear to have some defenders. I can see them. I think they might even see us
like they're doing the
here in the distance.
camouflage versus invisibility approach.
What do you guys say when we engage them?
Like rogues might have true invisibility,
they can see
and
us.
then rangers are, this.
Yeah, it should be stealth.
It seems a little too
okay,
visible.
I got a target, McStackerson. Rangers, we should open up on them right when they kind of arrive here.
Like if you look, I don't know if how far back I can go back.
Stealthy about it.
Okay, I got a target.
That's way too visible for like this. Yeah, like I can see all of this. That like I don't even have to zoom in to see that. Like I can look at my other screen here, which has an even smaller picture. It's like 640 by 360, and I can see them perfectly. Like obviously the one person that's sticking out over here is really easy to see, but like I can even see the
Rangers. We should open up on them right when they kind of arrive
Rangers.
Here. Let them come up a little bit closer. Prepare your snipe. They have no idea. Actually, let's switch targets over to Nestaris.
I think even on a grassy hill,
2,
or
1.
or in cover, it would still be relatively easy to see. They can tune it down a little bit more.
Okay, engage them.
Wow.
Go,
How fast was that? Everyone single targeted. 383.
Oh no! Okay, engage them. Go. Oh my god.
What a slaughter. What an absolute slaughter.
Oh, it's bloodshed.
That guy's staying alive pretty long.
This is our loot.
Was it like, what, 2 heals that he got? And he was still alive for like 10, 12 seconds?
Don't let them get away!
Obviously, this isn't balanced yet. So they don't really care about the balancing, but it's good to know, like,
I think we may... Only there's a few left. I see
damage outputs and
Chibi-Bree.
Focusing the caravan.
bad. If I'm the driver, I'm getting the hell out of there. I'm leaving.
All right.
What are you supposed to do?
Take down the caravan.
Can you get off the caravan? Like, there's still a dude driving it. it's moving super slow. I don't know if that's because it's damaged or if it's going uphill or what.
Time for that delicious loot.
We done it! Oh my god! Okay, nobody grab the loot. Nobody grab the loot. What just happened here, Chris? Bucky, talk to me a little bit about what we just saw. Obviously, this caravan is now destructed. What does that mean?
Yep.
Oh, the horses
Yeah,
died.
so this caravan was loaded with a combination of, it looks like commodity crates and material crates.
Okay, all right. So these crates have different contents in them.
Cooldowns are used.
Yeah, so like
wonder if
the
it's a
last
global
caravan live stream, we transited a
wonder how
bunch
that
of
works,
commodities, those special goods you bought with Glint. Well, obviously we can steal them now that we've killed their caravans. You want to open up one of these guys with a green little symbol on it.
Okay, I'll come up there.
They all have green symbols.
Right here, right next to you. One of these guys.
Got it. Okay, I can interact with it.
Okay,
I see that there's stolen commodities.
Yeah, so you can go ahead and loot those. Now, you don't actually get the commodity that it was. You get these special certificates that we will offload at the node we're going to head to after this for some monies.
Okay.
Nice, I like the monies.
So stolen
And
commodities.
then there's a second
like
kind of crate here. If you come turn around and walk back here, it's just with this black icon. Now, this is a material crate, which means they were transiting their materials as well.
Oh, wait.
Oh my god,
So you do get the actual materials. Wait,
Here's
so what's... Oh, the green are
and
commodity.
icon. No, this is a material crate,
material.
which means they were
Okay, so you do
transiting
get
their
rubies.
materials as well.
Just as rubies. They're not like
Oh
stolen
my god,
rubies.
they have a bunch
Okay,
of
that's
rubies.
interesting.
Oh, spicy.
I know, let me take a look at these rubies. Oh, nice. Okay, I have 30 of their rubies.
Nice.
But now, obviously, this is too much for us to carry, right? That's one of the aspects of the of the caravan system, is that it provides you large carrying capacity. What do we do when there's too much for us to carry on our backs?
So there's an item in your inventory that you can use to summon an empty caravan that you have stashed at a node. If I recall correctly, you stashed one at Winstead nearby.
I do have one at Winstead. Let me summon that.
Oh, so you
out in
just
the
carry
wild
this
right now,
around. So
I am
you're
able-
in your inventory, and he has a caravan that goes to Winstead. So if you plan to attack a caravan, you should probably have this in your inventory and already pre-bought. They would have a reason to raid depending on what certs can be traded for. I think certs are being used only for NPCs. I don't know if you could actually trade certs to other players. That'd be interesting to ask.
to summon this caravan.
But yeah, you definitely need
And that's gonna come from
this
Winstead.
item in preparation. So like if you just
now,
attack a
the
random
way
caravan
summoning
out in the wild
works is
and you don't
the
have
length
this,
of that summon is
you're gonna
determined by
have
where you're
inventory
right.
issues.
If you were to summon from Winstead, which is pretty close to us, the wait's not going to be super long. But if you're summoning from, very, very far away, it's going to be a rough wait.
Okay.
Oh, so the
All right,
longer
so
you
now I've
are
begun-
to the town, the longer the wait. And since they're going to Winstead and they're in the Riverlands, it's a relatively close trek. So this would be like you're attacking a local caravan to possibly get rid of some of their items so that you could level your node up faster. But yeah, so
Summoning
that
my
creates
empty
like
caravan
local
to come pick
friction.
up these supplies that we've just acquired. And obviously, if you were in the previous raid, you can go ahead and leave that raid. Because right now there's some still outstanding functionality required on the UI front, but it will be intended for that to be seamless in the future. But now you guys are joining my raid to defend this. And once this
Okay, so what's yeah, I was about to ask this, but what is planned is that there is an opt-in, opt-out for the caravan system where you can choose to be an attacker or a defender. It's not currently implemented, so they are just creating raid parties for this scenario. It's not like they are this isn't the final product, obviously.
caravan arrives, it's going to allow us essentially to grab these outstanding supplies. Is that right?
Correct, yeah. And another additional reason why you may want to summon a caravan instead of having all your people here pick up this stuff is you're going to get more for bringing the crate unopened to a node, right? So that like material crate, you said 30 rubies from it.
So there's a bigger sink if you're just
gonna
looting
get
these
way
crates.
more if we take that to the node without opening it in the field.
Okay, that's cool. That's awesome.
I like that.
And now, you know, we just happened upon obviously this caravan here that was carrying supplies. But talk to me a little bit about the intended interaction of hunting caravans, right? What does that mean? Can you progress in that? Can you identify these caravans from a distance? Is it intended to be diegetic, or is it, you know, aided with minimap? Like, talk to me a little bit about that, Bucky and Chris.
Yeah, so hunting a caravan is tending to be a lot more diegetic, right? You plant spies in other guilds. You, build your information network in the world of Vera.
That link, is that like a tank link?
Through whatever means you can, right? Now there is progression paths involved with attacking and defending a caravan that can aid you in doing so. Either with better equipment for it.
I don't know if that's a cleric or a
faster
thing.
ways to open crates more, yield from crates, and if you're a defender, right, better components for your caravans, stuff like that.
Okay.
I wonder if you could use an ability to see inside another
caravan has
person's
arrived.
inventory. Just something I thought of. That way you could see
But
if they were like
I
carrying
should
something
be
like a
able
caravan item.
to
I think the caravan should visually display what it's carrying.
move up to these
I don't know about having an ability to
Crates.
just see inside another person's inventory.
and collect the cargo. I see.
That seems a little broken, no?
Yep, so you should have an ability to collect cargo.
Oh my god, yeah, I have a whole bunch of cargo that I can select from.
I think there should be visual clarity
So I'm
for
just gonna
sure.
grab each of these.
Oh wait, how did he
cases.
do that? Did he just click
So I'm-
on the
Oh
caravan?
my.
Oh, he.
Yep, so you should have an
it's
ability
on
to
his
collect
caravan.
Oh my
There's an
god. Yeah, I have
AoE
a whole bunch of
pickup.
cargo that I can select from.
Oh, that's dope.
So I'm just gonna grab
And there's
each of
a
these
4x5 20 slot space.
cases.
Okay.
Okay. I have a very large chassis.
It looks relatively stock.
And I've
Like both the
collected,
caravans look similar.
a number of them. Let me see if I can collect some
there's
more.
like another
There's
ability
a
that
case
you can
of
to collect more.
Everburn scented candles,
Okay.
and
they
some
just,
more
like, pick
scented
up off the
candles.
ground.
All right, I think
That's
we
pretty
have
cool,
grabbed
actually.
pretty much
I like
everything
that
we
a
didn't
lot.
already loot. Now, talk to me a little bit about the differences between looting here, kind of at the spot, and collecting the cargo with the caravan.
I can take this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like looting at the spot, obviously you can do right away. And the problem with that though is you forfeit a lot of the materials. A lot more get lost, and as you crack open those crates. But if you're able to have your own caravan and bring it there, you can loot, and you'll get more of the overall materials that way. But there will be
That's
progression for, like
He's
you were
level
saying
15
about the
right now.
Highwayman faction versus the Defender faction, and maybe there'll be some progression where you can get better loot percentage out of the field.
Very cool.
The leveling seems a little weird
Now, we talked
the
a little bit
level
ago
strength.
about
of certain things.
stolen goods, stolen supplies. What are the intent of that system? How do stolen goods and supplies
Is this
work
the
differently
proper
than
position?
commodities?
So when you crack open a crate of commodities, you get you don't get
Just
the commodities
around the
themselves
caravan?
since they're like
That's
crated
that's
cargo
good
items.
positioning.
You actually get stolen goods, and you can use those
Kappa.
stolen commodity certificates to go and turn them into the black market to
Ooh, black
get some money
market.
back.
Okay, nice. And that's
you
an
turn in the
upgrade path
certificates
that's
to the black
available
market?
at different marketplace buildings.
Yeah, that's a specialization of the market. Normally, you can sell them back to anything, but it's not going to be very much. Like
Oh, it's
normal
a node
vendors of
upgrade.
Vera don't want those stolen goods, but if you,
Okay.
you know the right people, you can get your money's worth out of it.
Very nice, very nice. Now, obviously, we just had a large-scale, relatively large-scale combat between two of these raids. Trad, talk to me a little bit about kind of, how our approach towards Alpha 2 is going to incorporate additional development of this group-based combat in PvP and kind of where we are with it now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you've seen in a lot of our previous archetype live streams, there's been a lot of, representation of single-player combat. Like, we usually go in there
Wait,
with
the caravan
one to,
seemed like it was
maximum of
struggling
3
when it was
people,
going
just
uphill,
because
and now it's
we want to
going
really
downhill and it's
highlight
going
like the
faster.
abilities. But here you're obviously seeing that much
Ooh.
larger scale scenario, and that's where we're
That's kind of sick.
going to continue moving forward, thinking about like the group utility, because that's what like
Or maybe it was
adds
just a
lot
speed
of,
boost.
class identity to your character, right? Is like when your party invites me, or your raid invites me, like, what do I provide to the group?
Master
That's
insufficient
where
mana?
we've sort of shifted our focus on. For
Wait,
this,
so the caravan has
generation
mana
of
too.
ability
That's
design.
interesting. So you actually have to manage mana,
Okay.
manage your
See,
mana.
there's some dead brown
as a
bears up
caravan
here. That's
driver.
concerning.
Oh, let's hitch a left here.
Okay, and so what we're going to do down here is we need an alternate path to reach Marilith, because the path by road is a bit obstructed. Some of the bridges have not been developed yet.
Okay.
So what are we about to do now?
This is where it turns
So
into a
there's
raft,
this
right?
nifty thing that I think you alluded to last time we talked about caravans, but we are gonna traverse the river instead of the land.
All right.
So what you're gonna do is roll up here and go ahead and walk your caravan as far into the water as it'll let you.
The horses are gonna go
All
swimming.
right. I see beautiful carpet.
Imagine the horses just pulling the
Alright,
caravan.
you should have an ability on your
Convert to
caravan
raft.
hotbar to transition to raft.
I like how you can see everybody on the
Convert
minimap
to
that's in your
raft.
raid. Oh,
Ooh, okay.
what the hell?
And I just deployed this.
Is this
Yep,
an Age
just
of
deploy
Empires
it.
building? Oh, shit.
That is awesome.
That's sick.
So this process takes a few minutes.
What?
You're gonna have to
Wait a minute, is the raft actually
basically
building?
wait and defend your caravan while you're
Oh, it
transitioning
is.
to raft. But
It's actively being
riding on
built.
the water has its benefits.
Oh, that's so dope.
I love this. Now, you can still
And now you're kinda,
target
like,
the dock, right? And
stuck
part of this transition
Until this
process
is finished.
is, again, the risk that you're introducing for the reward of having greater flexibility in movement through the land.
Oh, this is huge.
And that risk is basically you're sitting duck here. For lack
This is
of a better
amazing.
term.
This is great.
Yeah, basically. Like I said, you can't escape, and you can undo this process, but the amount of time you've already sunk into it must be paid to undo it.
Oh, wow.
I see. And
So you
now,
can't just
as
straight
this
cancel
raft
it.
is getting constructed, I noticed that it's
So if you're like
essentially
40% through it, you're like, do I just
deconstructing
finish it or do I
the caravan,
deconstruct it for 40% again?
using that to construct the raft.
Yep, correct. And if you
Oh
actually,
my god, a sail!
once it's done constructing, you'll notice
Sail.
the body of your caravan is sitting on the raft.
Is that the Tower of Carfin?
Oh, I love it. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's some Lewis and Clark shit. I mean, sorry.
That's some Lewis and Clark shit. Hey, Lewis and
no.
Clark type beat.
Now, as we're kind of a sitting duck, we should probably put some maybe some scouts up near the top of that hill so we don't get jumped. I don't know.
Let me go
It may
check
not
it
be a
out.
That's
scout,
so
but I can go
funny.
take a look.
I can't imagine that they just left.
Oh
their-
boy, we got
Oh,
the people
run,
up here.
run.
Oh
They're back. They want their stuff back. Oh no.
Get him, Keenan.
no! I'm gonna go chill with the
all the
raft
mage
as it kind of
electro
comes down while you
balls.
guys fight them for a second.
Okay.
I think it's
a little-
almost done.
It's chaotic. Oh my
There we
goodness.
go.
Dropping off. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I've gotten the raft.
Now he's gonna swim to go
I'm
get
running.
it.
Oh
Oh
god!
my god, this is crazy. Actually,
Rangers
the
to the
effects
ship!
don't look
Quickly,
that bad.
join me.
They look very readable.
We must depart this area.
Like if I pause it right here, it's very easy to navigate this battlefield. I guess the only thing that you can't really tell is like people's classes from here. Like unless you're like zoned in on like their armors and stuff like that. But the battlefield itself is actually really readable. I like that. And I don't know if anybody else notices this, but I really like this. There's these little bars right here. It doesn't tell you the exact HP, but I can tell you with 1624 on Dread as a tank, this probably is in 500 HP intervals. So it could be like 500, 1000, 1500, 2000. Or this is percentage. It could be percentage. So 25%, 50%, 75%, 100, which is still fine. But these little links are actually really, really important for PvP. With cosmetics, you won't be able to tell class anyways. They've stated that there is supposed to be a way for you to be able to tell class even with cosmetics. Probably hasn't been implemented in the UI yet. So I'm just gonna wait on that one before I
All right, we'll catch back up.
Make a final decision. But yeah, telling classes
Everyone on
and stuff like
board.
that might be really, really hard.
Chris, Bucky, do what you can to hold them.
This
It's
is so
just
sick.
some rabble, you know. These guys don't have
This is so
anything on
dope.
us.
Everybody's just on the caravan while they're holding them back.
Mopping them up.
Don't stop. Keep going. Don't stop.
I expect you to make quick work of them. Chris, are you with me or are you over there? I don't know where I'm going.
He's like,
Oh,
I'm
I'm running down. I'll run to you.
You can
I'm
still see
abandoning
them all on
fight.
the mini map
Okay,
too.
well,
Yeah,
wait-
we've
we'll wait for
taken
you.
them out. We're coming back.
Okay, so I'm also wondering, like, when you are in the caravan, how far away can the caravan get before you start gaining corruption for a kill? Like, do you just have to be part of the raid party and anybody that you attack? I can see a couple of issues with this system with like leashes to the caravan versus like how to abuse this so that people don't gain corruption and stuff like that. Obviously it's all going to be tested in Alpha 2 and stuff like that, but I feel like the system can be really abusive with the corruption system, and I want to see how that all interacts together.
Now
Okay, very nice.
we'll run along the shore.
I like the, I love the raft. It's looking good. I know Adam worked pretty hard on the new water
Are you
shader.
just stopping in the water?
It looks beautiful. It's a
Gotta
nice
get-
day out.
Gotta get going. Oh, are you waiting for your homies?
It definitely turned out real
all
nice.
just swimming?
And shout out to Hal for the raft.
Yes. Oh, the raft looks so good. I'm assuming we're going left, yes?
So we're gonna keep going straight here.
Bucky. I'm coming.
All right. Now, this can be very helpful, having the option, but it can also be kind of dangerous because you don't know who might
So you have
be
to declare
laying in
attacker
wait
then?
ahead of you along the shoreline.
Yeah, so not here, but like in its final form or idealized form, you have to declare attacker or defender, but that only happens within a certain range of the caravan. And I'm wondering what happens when you get outside of that range and how that's being affected by corruption or not. And that range also is like an indicator on if there's even a caravan in the area to attack. So if the range is too big, you give too much of an indicator that there's a caravan in the area. And then if it's too small, then you can have problems with like corruption. You'd lose party status, I would think. Yeah, but so here's the other thing. Like, maybe you set up a caravan with absolutely nothing in it, and you use that to grief players out in the world that aren't a part of the system because you've gone outside of its range but are still attached to the party, therefore you're not gaining any corruption. There's a lot of holes that they need to learn how to fill in order to, one, not abuse it, and two, just be able to like make this system succeed, you know? Like, I think it's a very abusable system if they don't lock it down, and I think there's going to be tons of ways to figure it out in Alpha 2. But yeah, there's a lot of different things that could be abusable with it.
But it also lets you, as we said, traverse the world in a little different way. And there's also a current here, correct?
Still
Yeah,
gain
so there's a
corruption
current
if
system
you attack
that-
non-declared attackers.
Increases your speed if you go with the current,
That's
and
true.
decreases it if you
That's
go
true,
against it. You're gonna hitch a right here, Steven.
And those currents are kind of different based on the location in the river, correct?
Yeah, they are. They're different based on the location in the river and like the strength of the river, right? So like, you know, where we kind of started there was more of a lake body, so the current's not super intense. But you know, we could have a place that's
I wonder if you can like
you know
I'm
near
gonna let it
rapids,
keep
right?
going. I wonder if you can
Got it.
make it so that it triggers
Where are we going here?
a
This is
caravan
looking
attack when
concerning.
you know, launch an attack on a party
Oh,
member of
Steven.
the caravan. Regardless.
Did I ever tell you I have the sense of direction of a mongoose?
of
Oh,
the
God!
radius. Oh wow, there's.
Oh my
people up
god, shoot
Attack us
at
on the
Turn around. Go
rock.
the other way.
there. Ooh, rangers. Let's go, mages. Rangers
Take
and
them
mages.
out!
Artillery fire.
Steven, you're gonna crash into a rock.
Oh god.
He's watching the fight.
You're gonna want to hit
Dread,
right here. I'm
let's
sorry.
go.
I wasn't paying attention to my map. No, not yet.
I'm trying to watch behind us.
You're gonna beach us.
Oh my god, Keenan.
Is there someone on board?
Firing down.
Oh no.
Not anymore.
Okay.
That was a defender.
Alright.
Up, heavy fire on
Dread
Dread.
is 1v3.
Alright, I think we made it out. We're safe now. Trad,
Everybody's
how's it going on the
still
battle
chilling?
side?
I'm outnumbered. I'm running.
Oh
I'm outnumbered.
no. Meet
I
us at the
bet.
landing point.
All your homies still
If
on
you,
the
if
caravan.
if you are a bandit, get out of there and meet us at the landing point. Don't let them follow you though.
Win the fight, then meet us.
Yes, win the fight, then meet us, or die and meet us.
How about what we do that the other way around?
Yeah, that'd be good. So,
Is Bucky swimming just
these
as
are
fast
obviously
as the
some of the
caravan?
risks
Is
of
he on
traveling
raft?
by raft. Let me turn down my sound effects just a little bit. There we go. Now, it's not all bad because we can land and turn us back into a land caravan again. And that's
Yep.
coming up here, correct?
It's coming up pretty shortly. Now, you can't turn into a land caravan anywhere, right? You still need, kind of like how you saw we showed up at a beach to turn into a raft. Well, we need to do something similar, and if you notice around us, there aren't a huge amount of beaches, and that's super intentional to create, like, locations players can rely on.
Got it. Are we coming up on one up here, yeah?
Oh, I
Yep,
see
we're
our
coming up on
allies.
one on the right there.
We're up
And
here.
our
Let me
friends.
see if the current kind of
Are
carries
those
us
friends
forward
or
a little bit.
enemies?
Oh, it does. I'm not moving.
You
Our
sure
current
those are
moves.
friends? How do you tell?
Love it.
Above
It's a
you.
I
very
don't see an
a
icon
light
above them.
influence for this current.
It's a very light current.
Oh, there's Anduin.
All right, everybody secure the perimeter. I am converting into a land caravan again.
Oh, there's like legit
On
a
it.
road.
It has begun.
Whoa.
Securing perimeter.
Got
Perimeter
Sneevens.
secured. So after we go
DA.
back and forth with
I know
the
these names.
with the caravan turning back into a
D-
land caravan, it's keeping all the components that it had before, obviously, right, Chris?
I like how it
Yeah,
has to go through
so
the whole process
all your
again.
components, all of the stuff in like that you've either looted or launched with sticks with you, all that good stuff.
Oh, DA's not in the raid anymore.
Reinvite him.
Let's bring DA back. I'm sure that the the opposing side is going to try one last time to recover their goods.
Oh, they
The
will for
least
sure.
smaller
So we
side
need
kind of
to be
treat it like an
conscientious of
arena.
that as we kind of progress through this more rocky
I have mixed
area.
feelings.
There's a lot
I
of
think,
places.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think we
this
just need to
is-
test it out.
It's also
Dude,
very
DA jumped
narrow.
a
Not a lot
long
of
way
places
with
for
that
us to
blink.
run.
Like that camouflage looks way
Overview
too. Like,
perfect.
look at that camouflage. Like, I can easily see that, especially with all this fog and stuff and the light refractions. Like, even if they go into the shadows,
So
I
when
think it'll
we
be
get
easy
to
to see.
Mirlet, though, assuming that we successfully navigate past the evil merchants,
Well,
Um,
they did say that they're going to be working on light and how that works. So we'll see if that also affects the camouflage. I won't talk too much
What
into
are we
the
gonna be doing
camouflage,
now?
but
We're
I just know
turning
that it's
in
way
this-
too easy to
this
see.
cargo.
Yeah, so you're going to be able to unpack those crates, which you currently don't know what's in them. We do have a plan for a progression path for kind of caravans in general, where you will be able to look into them, but you haven't done your grind, Steven.
What? Haven't done my grind yet.
You ain't been
Nope,
grinding.
and you're also going to go and turn in those black market, or not the black market certificates, the stolen commodities at the black market to make some money.
Got it.
Ooh.
Now, guys, obviously, as you're watching this and you're seeing the kind of transition, again, as a reminder, everything you're seeing is a work in progress, especially from an art perspective.
But it looks great.
UI, visual effects, animation.
Those are all still works in progress. I'm gonna jump on this. Okay, here we go. I am
We're
ready.
back.
Let's do this.
We're back.
I'm speed boosting.
It would be very nice if some tanks were on the front line with this sad little mage.
Get out of the way!
Yeah,
This
let's see
sounds
some rangers ahead too in their camo. Get some scouting going.
Yeah, there we
Nice.
go. Now we're coming up with tactics. Wait, I can see enemies on here.
We
No?
must protect.
What about these like red,
I'm in
red
danger.
icons?
I'm in
right?
danger.
I need an
Those
adult.
are enemies,
Go
yeah?
tread.
Are those
Dispense the
monsters or
heathens.
people? Or both? Like,
We
okay,
should
okay,
pull back a
so
little bit.
this is what you were talking about, right, Mr. Bigwater? You're like, oh, you can't see them because they're blended into the ground. But like, I can easily see this guy running from through here. Like, it was a little bit harder to tell, like, right here. But like, as soon as he like starts going on anything else, it is relatively easy to see like where he's at. Like, I can almost like pinpoint him immediately. And it is supposed to get harder to see the further that they are, but I don't think it's that difficult to tell.
We should pull back.
These guys, like, I can see this guy over here. I think there's
Oh,
a
we
little
got some
over
people on
here.
the hill, cliff up on the right here.
These guys are linked. I can see this little guy right here.
I got eyes. Austin's ahead.
All right, stay out of my way. I'm
Oh,
just
I'm
gonna go
taking damage,
straight
I'm
through
running.
this.
Just-
Just send it, Steven.
I'm going straight through. Everybody get out of my way.
This guy.
Run.
Oh god.
some casualties of our own side. It's worth it though.
Tanks
If
pulling
they're going
down
to be
from the
that
rock.
easy to see, they shouldn't be clickable.
Use your javelins.
Oh. Running,
You guys got
running.
this?
Yeah, we're kind of just walking right through them, honestly. Not even really scared at all.
They don't have enough to contest us. We're
Yeah,
too
look at them.
powerful.
Dread has got some hots
fear.
going.
They threw the might of our bandit
Magic
army.
shield. Wait, he's doing 0 damage to him.
I
What?
remember this way. Last time there were a bunch of zombies and skeletons here.
He was doing 0 damage.
Yeah.
Yep, I think the world team has changed them to rock golem.
Oh, or the world state has changed, perhaps? Or maybe they did change the rock golems.
That's gonna be a Jeremy question.
I think ease of visuals should progressively get easier to see the closer you are. But right now it's at too far of a range. Can I see them? Like, if they're 25 meters or 30 meters, I should be able to see them. But if it's beyond 30 meters, I should not.
And we've left.
Like 30 to 25, I should have the capability to see them. 20, I should be able to see them. And then 15 and everything else should be like really, really easy to see.
We've left Vertec. Good sacrifice.
Did we make it out?
I would agree with you that it would be harder to see in group combat if like you don't have this wide field of view. Like if it's like a first person thing, I understand that it's going to be harder to see, but you have like such a like grand perspective of the battlefield. It's actually pretty easy to see.
Careful,
We're
they're coming up.
still being
Hey,
chased.
everybody up here, go back and kill those people. Don't let them near me.
Back, fiends!
I'm gonna use my last speed boost.
My god, they're using dark magic.
Like I don't want it to be like
The rock element.
invisible, like true
Yeah, don't pull
invisibility. That'd be
aggro.
terrible.
Definitely not.
Don't get me wrong. I just think it's
I'm
just too
railing-
visible.
railing
They
behind
just
you.
need to
Lock on
turn
the
it down
skeletons.
lightly.
Cycletons.
Yes, that's what I wanted you to do.
Can you not just like push them away? I guess he has no mana.
They've overextended. The fools!
The fools.
Heal, heal.
I cannot heal
Oh.
you.
Where are you? Oh, I see you.
It could also be that Twitch
My gosh.
is
All right, we're almost
decompressing or compressing a lot of the visual quality, so you can't see it on Twitch.
We're so close.
but like I can see it on YouTube easily.
God, you know, I'm really envious of you, Steven, being able to like sit and drive something while we all have to walk.
I know.
My legs hurt.
Honestly, it's not a very comfortable ride. The suspension on this vehicle and the rocks on the ground.
Yeah, it is really slow right
Well,
now.
you know, the roads will
going
upgrade
uphill.
when the node levels up, and it'll get a little nicer.
That's true. That's a good point. So as the nodes advance, as we've said in the past, the roads advance as well. And that speed buff does get some benefit.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
They
and a road like
actually
this
are
would
taking
eventually
in
become
consideration
stone,
the
right? So the
leveling of
caravan
players
won't
with
be
the
as
leveling of
bumpy.
nodes, which makes things harder
We've
at
almost
the intro
arrived
level, but like makes it easier.
At
While
Miraleth,
people are probably stronger, so I think the
I've lost the
scalability
road
is really
buff. Now
really
we're
nice
super slow.
in terms of like balance
You're
that way.
officially in Miraleth.
I still see Lex behind us. Is Lex on the good side or the bad side?
He's on our side.
Oh, okay.
We do have enemies coming up though.
Okay.
Oh,
Maybe
we
he's
still
node?
haven't killed them?
Yeah.
Guards,
Kill-
get them.
Kill the...
If I had more heals, I'd be up there more.
Somebody help them kill
All
this.
right, go, Trad. I'll stay
Hey,
with you
Burgun.
until the end.
Not a dwarf.
We're going in.
Not a
Don't
dwarf.
don't wait up for us, guys.
I don't even think they followed.
Oh,
They're gone.
What a
Okay.
traitor.
I see one.
Good,
Go,
good, good.
get him. He's running in.
We've almost arrived.
Who's that?
A solo hero.
The river town of Miraleth.
I wonder how that would affect players in a year or two in the future.
Oof.
Like
Look at that
new
beautiful
players
view.
to the game while
It's a very nice little
everything's
node.
been in
So now,
injected. There's probably
I have some stolen commodities in the form of...
they're probably not going to be interacting with caravan
Stolen goods.
fights.
Yep.
They're probably going to be
And then I
like
also
little
have
adventurers
cargo.
doing their own little dungeons and stuff like that. They're not going to
Yep,
be
and I
worried
believe
about
I
those
remember you
Caravan
saying you picked up
PvPs
a bunch of
as like a new player.
candles and a bunch of and a couple of crates. Now the crates are a mystery, so I'll walk you through how to find out what goes in them.
We
Okay,
did
so
it.
now it's on autopilot.
Yes.
We've done it. Should I dismount?
Yeah, get off that thing.
Alright.
Get off that.
Great work,
thing.
everybody.
Well
I wonder
done,
if it'll cause a
everyone.
bug if
Beautiful.
he just stays
You'll
on.
be paid 10 copper for your services, and I'll get the rest.
Now, where are we going to go
So,
to turn this
First,
stuff in?
first thing we're gonna do, come back this way. We're gonna talk to the caravan master. Talk about a change since last you guys saw the caravan system. If you open that up and switch to the storage
What's
of
up
the
with all these
caravan you
X's
have here,
on the
you'll see
map?
the goods are still in there. Do you see the goods in there, Steve?
Cargo storage. Yes, I do.
So you're
Okay.
gonna. Part of the change is that when you land a caravan,
Medium
it doesn't
crate
automatically
packs.
flood the node's cargo with the stuff that was on your caravan. It stays on the caravan as additional cargo storage.
Okay.
So what you're gonna do, if you notice, there's a couple of crates. I think they're 2x1s in there.
So you can store or launch it. Okay. This means like if you wanted to take this to a different node, you could buy another one. But since he took it to Winstead, he can either choose to store or launch it again to a different area. But he could like keep this here or whatnot.
Yes, I see
Or
those.
just
take it
medium
off.
crates.
You're gonna right-click that.
Right click.
Okay. Oh,
He's
look
got
at
some
that.
basalt.
There's some basalt in these.
So what you can do is unpack that crate, which is going to move the goods that were in there into your material inventory. But unpacking takes time, so they're going to be locked for a period of time.
Okay, so I won't see them in my...
You will see them in your material inventory, but you won't be able to take them out. So if you want to go ahead and unpack it, you can tab over to the material inventory and check it out.
Just show up there later, because it's not showing up there now.
Did you hit the unpack button?
Oh, I did not.
there you go.
Oh, good call. Thank you.
Did you
So
just
sorry.
delete some basalt?
Oh, that was good. That was good. Okay. All right. So they're locked right now. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So in 5 minutes, I can access them.
Yep, now that timer scales with how the node progresses. That's actually an extremely fast unpacking time. But typically it's going to be on the scale of days.
Days to unpack
Okay, very
cargo.
cool.
And then if you
Interesting.
wanna-
What about these Everburn scented candles?
Those are commodities. You're going to be able to sell that to the commodity man.
I don't know how I feel.
Oh,
but
do I put those where?
I think
in
I
the
like it.
storage?
I don't know.
You can just leave it.
Cargo?
You can just leave them right there. I can show you. Come on
Oh,
this
Maybe
way.
not days, but hours?
All right,
Sure.
Sweet, sweet, sweet.
Would be
And
like
now, obviously,
in-game days.
the unpack time, fees, everything
how long
associated
are
with it.
in-game days?
Those are all options that you can choose to manipulate within a node. So you can make your node kind of the, hub for trade or for landing caravans and whatnot. depending on the options that the cities choose.
Exactly. So if you go ahead and talk to this vendor here,
Okay.
it should open up your storage as well. And if you go to cargo,
Oops. All right. Go to cargo.
and check out your cargo in Miraleth,
Done.
you should be able to sell those commodities to this gentleman straight from your caravan inventory if you scroll down to the bottom of your cargo inventory.
there it
There
is.
it is. Yes, very nice. Okay.
Scented
cool.
candles. Okay.
Oops, hold on, let me fix that. Now, guys, remember, UI is a work in progress right now. This is very functional, not playable.
Functional, not playable.
Okay, so I see a bunch of these. I can sell them right now. What am I selling them for?
You're selling them for gold. You stole another man's potential gold.
I recovered them. They stole it from us to begin with.
That's right.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
We're the good
It
guys,
said-
Chris.
Do I right-click those to sell
Yep,
them?
right click them to sell them. This is functionality we showed in the
Zero.
last live stream. It's just they weren't yours to begin with.
Now I see when I right-click it, it opens up the crate, and inside I see nothing. That could be a bug.
That's a bug.
That could be a bug. Guys, you're going to see some bugs. That's the way
So
things go.
last thing I want to show you though, Steven.
Yes.
I want you to, while you're talking to this vendor, in your inventory, your player
Okay.
inventory, you
Yep.
should have those stolen goods that you got from the crate that you
Stolen
opened up.
commodity.
So if you
Okay, I
talk
have
to
some
this,
stolen commodities.
if you talk to this gentleman and hover over it, it'll tell you how much they sell for to the commodity vendor. But don't sell them.
All right.
Don't sell.
Yeah, we know a guy, Steven.
0.
Now I'm talking to this vendor.
Is everything
and
0?
Do I just hover over them in my backpack?
Yep.
Sell price, it says, is 0.
So this man is not going to give you
They know
a lot of money for that. But
How dare this man?
we've got a guy. Come follow me.
We got
Yeah,
the
we
we
got a
got the
guy.
black market
Oh,
here
he
in
doesn't. He
Meredith.
doesn't trade.
I thought this was to
Yeah,
Winstead.
he's a
not
reputable
Meredith. What the
vendor,
hell?
but
What does that mean?
Okay, all right.
Is Winstead part of Meredith? What is
somebody
Meredith?
So
here.
this is the
Is it
new
a vessel node
upgraded
of
marketplace here in Miraleth.
Meredith.
Now, as we kind of briefly mentioned, there are upgrade paths to the marketplace. Now, this one's been expanded, so if you follow me into this little back alley and into this
Okay.
little outhouse,
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
we've found
okay.
the black
Ophelia
market.
Blackwater.
My goodness. Ophelia
Blandendorf?
Blackwater. Now, this was because this is an expansion
wonder how
that
Waldorf
Miraleth
feels about
has
that.
in their market.
Correct. Yeah. So marketplaces
Ooh,
don't
20
normally come with a
silver,
black market, and it's a
baby.
part of the expansion tree. So it's a choice you can make on your marketplace to be where bandits take their stuff.
So I'm going to right-click on the stolen commodities.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
money.
okay. It just gave me some gold. Very nice.
I do like the gold, silver, copper
I've
thing.
sold it.
And now you have to pay us all, so
Very
everyone
D&D
line up to
thing.
get traded.
all right, yep. Where's my cut?
I guess WoW too.
Okay, everybody line up.
D&D.
All right, a little bit line up there, a little bit. All right, well done. And then
Everybody
just
gets-
wait here. I'll be right back. Oh, no, wait. Let me...
Block the door.
No, no. Okay, I'll be back. You guys stay there. Ladies and gentlemen, we have
dude,
just
Steven.
seen some PvP.
Steven
We've seen
does
some
not care.
whitewater
He's the
rafting. We've seen
greediest
some
man
caravan
alive.
events, and we've had a great time. A little bit of some
Alright,
bugs,
everybody, have a
obviously.
good
This is
day.
still
Later,
our road to
dude.
Alpha 2, so that's to be expected. But I do want to thank, obviously, our developers for joining
And
us
this
and
is where you
explaining
get the
everything,
entire
our
crew to
testers
come
for
chase
helping
you down and
participate
kill
so that
you.
we're able to kind of show off all of these systems. And as a reminder, of course, I know I can't say this enough, as we continue to progress towards Alpha 2, you will continue to see polish be done, bugs get fixed, stability
Look at all these
improve,
emotes.
performance
The
improve.
shield is kind of
Right now, we are on that road.
Some of the weapons are
We've just
phasing.
come off of heavy
like it.
development of our feature and core systems, our features and core systems, and now we're going to be refining that. We're going to be tightening that loop, and we're going to be fixing things up so that we can get a lot of people in game and start testing these systems. I hope you guys enjoyed today. We had a lot of fun doing it, and there's a lot of stuff still yet to show. But with that being said, thank you all for joining me, and thank you for watching. We'll see
Ooh, the
you
airstrike.
back on
Let's
stream.
go.
Huh?
I like it. The battlefield is pretty,
Hello, everyone.
pretty
Welcome
easy to
back.
see. Building the caravan Getting it across rivers is cool. I mean, we talked a lot about the camouflage, but honestly, that is such a minor thing and so easy to fix. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I like the direction that they're going. I think Anduin was telling me that they're... Anduin was telling me, like, during the live stream that they were talking about, like, currents. That current and wind will be a factor with caravans. I think. Maybe I'm being lied to. Maybe I feel like that was something that they said, that they were talking about currents. And then
We're
Yeah,
too
like a
powerful.
yeah, so this probably isn't HP levels, it's just like percentage. So these like little lines, like 50%, 25%, 75%, that's probably more likely than the actual HP numbers. I wouldn't mind if each of these things were like, if they had like little ticks for like each. Well, I don't know how high they want to scale HP to. So if either do it by 100 or do it by like 1,000, one of those things, to more easily tell HP, but not have to give people an exact number. I kind of like that idea. I think obscuring some data is really, really good, but still being able to visually see it is also really helpful. So that you can like calculate your damage a little bit better.
So now
And then I guess the only other thing
I have
was
some
like,
stolen.
I want to be able to have visual clarity on what a caravan is carrying, so that if I'm not just attacking every single caravan and hoping to see like if it has the materials that I need, or if we're trying to stop them from getting the materials that they need.
Commodities.
I think that's
Picked
something
in
that,
a couple of crates.
not really shown. I'm not sure what these X's or pluses are on the minimap. Might be the gate to the node or something. Not sure.
No, the crate.
He said this was Winstead, but does this really look like Winstead? I don't see the windmill. Marilith. So, oh, it's probably from Winstead to Marilith. This is the Marilith node, which looks great, by the way. Like, I believe this is the second node that we've seen since the node updates, and this looks great. So, I can't wait to see other nodes. It looks vastly different from Winstead. I can say that much at least. We passed by the Tower of Carfin. That looks great in its uncorrupted state. Really, really excited to see how this world moves together. So really, really excited.
Should I dismount? So
And then we can
in
go.
progress right now.
Oh, and then he went into here. You can sell these at the caravansary, or the NPC outside of the caravansary. And then you can take your stolen commodities that you stole off the ground rather than packed back into the caravan. And only if your node is upgraded, you can go to the black market. If you have the black market in your node, and you can sell those stolen commodities. I think that's really cool that you can have some people that won't have a black market and some people that will, and that is an interesting choice. So, yeah, I'm really, really liking what I see, and I can't wait to play it in Alpha 2.
guys,
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We do have quite a few questions, but it looks like most people really enjoyed it. I will be playing it in the background whilst we chat.
Despite the odds of our team being severely outnumbered, we managed to overcome that just completely imbalanced setup with the defending team and defeated them. I hope you guys enjoyed that demonstration.
Yeah, you were
it was
outnumbered
tough.
for
I
sure.
think they couldn't see everybody that was battling you. So they thought the numbers weren't even.
We didn't. The numbers weren't even, purposely so, right? I mean,
Yeah.
guys, remember, part of this demonstration is to show off certain systems. So, yes, a lot of these things are kind of run of show. We're intended to defeat them.
Well, that's also probably what's most likely going to happen is you're probably not going to have a large ass force like this to defend. You're probably going to have a large force to attack, though. In most cases. And I think more cases than not, the attackers will have the advantage more so than the defenders. So I think giving defenders a bit more utility, maybe making caravans a little bit, I don't want to say stronger, but have more utility is good. I definitely think the attackers definitely have a large advantage in most cases.
We're intended to take their stuff. We're intended to transition to the raft. That's the intent, right? And so don't get too harsh on the defending side. They were perfect.
Which is actually also kind of really cool because, yeah, it's really hard to defend a moving target, like you said. And then not only that, but like castle sieges are the opposite, right? The defenders have a much easier time and the attackers have a much harder time. So there is somewhat of a balance and an imbalance where it's easier to attack resource routes rather than to attack the actual stronghold itself, which I think intuitively makes sense and is good for the game. Because if you start thinking of like it on a macro scale, there should be some imbalance for certain things. Like you shouldn't want your node or your castle to be at an even playing field when you're defending, because that would mean there's a lot of bad times involved. Likewise, you want it to be you want to be able to take it over. And so if there's like little things like caravans and making sure that players are, at a disadvantage in order to get an advantage or get on an even playing field for these node strongholds, that's a very good idea. And I think I like that. In TV shows, when the good guy team makes a plan to attack the boss when he's on the move in his car. True, yeah, because generally you have less defenses in transit because you would need a lot of resources in order to defend that. And also, I mean, I don't think they really showed it or if they really talked about it, but you should be able to, not only should there be visual clarity in like what a caravan is carrying, you should also be able to create like decoy caravans. So if they have thought of that, I think that's really, really good.
Outnumbered. We even changed their composition not to let them have too many healers. So it was unfortunate for them.
Yeah.
Or healers OP.
But we do have quite a few questions. The first one here is, how will risk versus reward be balanced for both the caravan attackers and defenders? Some folks kind of seemed like they were feeling like defenders were at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean,
we just talked
here's
about
the
this.
thing. Emergent gameplay, such as this, right? Caravans are the induction of emergent gameplay, which means you cannot predict the situation you're going to be in when you use a caravan. That's part of the risk. The risk is...
I know he's in a talk, but like this is fine within like 5 to 10 meters, This is easily seeable. Like when you get beyond that range, it should be progressively harder and harder to see.
The unknown. If you could predict it, then your ability to mitigate that risk would unfortunately remove that dynamic, that ratio of risk versus reward. So you might come into situations where you didn't anticipate.
Is that me?
Whoops. Did we lose? Are we back?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
this is
we're
where the
back.
stream
We're down.
disconnected.
Oh, I was
On
just
my
looking
end,
at
it's just shown
chat.
green.
Okay.
So that's weird. I have no idea.
I think we're still here, so it's fine. Okay.
I was here for parts
so anyways,
of it, but
as I
I was
was
at
saying,
work
you cannot
majority
predict
of
the
this
risk.
dev update.
That's
So a lot
part
of
of
this is
the
new.
that is part of the equation, right? In some cases, you may want to over provision depending on how valuable your load is on the caravan, right? That means
You got
it's
deleted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 2100 damage. Yeah, that person gets one shot. Really fun interactive gameplay. But guess what happens? That's what happens in an ambush. Fuck that guy.
it's better to travel with friends. There might be mercenary guilds that you can bring along. You can invest more in the components of the caravan so that it's more defensible, more maneuverable. You might want to go at unique times so you can mitigate the potential resistance. You need to ensure that the flow of information around what you're intending to do is restricted to a close, circle of trusted friends or guildmates. Like there's a lot of different dynamic variables that exist within a system like this to answer that question.
I like it.
All right. And then the next one here is the time to kill scene during PvP in stream kind of like right around where we're wanting it? Or if it's not,
Yeah.
like what changes do we think that we'll probably be making? Obviously, balance is
It seems
not
fine.
balancing quite yet.
Right. Yeah. So
this.
I think it seems fine.
yeah. So when we talk about time to kill, you'll notice here, and we're going to put this video up in 4K shortly after the stream. So I know that obviously the bitrate on Twitch is not super friendly to a high definition video, but afterwards you can take a look. When you do watch the video again, take notice of how, and this is a big point of discussion that I would love to get the community's feedback on, and we've talked about this in the past. But if you are targeting another player, specifically another player, not an NPC, if you're targeting another player and that player is not a member of your guild, alliance, raid, or party, okay, those are the 4 affiliation factors. If they're not a part of those 4 groups, you will not have specific information of their HP level. You will have quarters of information to their XP level, and you may progress to get that a bit more granular, perhaps to 6ths or 8ths. You're not going to have exact information about what amount of hit points they have available to them. That level of obfuscation protects a bit of that engagement, that TTK interaction, right? So you might...
Hold up. 6 or ace? What does that divide up into? That seems like an odd number. Yeah, that's such an odd number. I don't know about that.
Overshoot a target if you don't know exactly if they're down to their last 20% or 25%, right? That I think is a very healthy thing to have in PvP, but it is not a normal game design mechanic, right? In fact, it's not normal for modern day MMOs to have that component. It was normal for more old school games to have that with MMOs, something I personally enjoyed, but it's a great point of discussion for you guys in the audience to talk about what that means. So when we talk about TTK,
I like
you'll see here, as Margaret said, we haven't done a definitive balance pass, and there's a reason for that, right? We're not in the right stage to yet do that definitive balance pass because we're still touching some of the skills of each of the archetypes and revamping them and playing around with them. But generally, when it comes to finger in the wind, we're around where we want to be for TTK, right? And, that's probably on the bit faster side of TTK for MMOs that we're accustomed to. But, we're a PVX game as well. So, discuss that as well.
Right. And what's really funny is I know you're not looking at the questions, but the next one was about the HP and not being able to see enemies' HP. Did you want to cover anything else in regards to that? Because people were wondering if that's on purpose or not.
That is on purpose. As I talked about, that
fine.
level of obscurity, I think, adds an interesting dynamic to combat. If you're not certain of the outcome of an action, that is going to change the decisions you make, right? And that level of variability in combat yields outcomes that can be drastically different from situation to situation. It's not as prescribed. And I think that's an important interaction in PvP. Now, PvE is a little bit different. You will see exactly the HP of the monster you're fighting.
I'm curious, why is it red? Can he just not place that anywhere he wants?
right? And that level of prescription, I think, is okay. And we can address that with certain types of behavior trees and the way the NPCs interact with the player character. That can be a little bit unpredictable to influence that with a variable nature. But in PvP, I think it's okay to have that level of obfuscation.
And
I like
then
it.
This
I like
one
that
is more
idea.
just people curious about what the blue lines were that were coming from people. And yes, that was a cleric ability. That was a heal.
Oh, it's
that
a
was
cleric ability.
chaining out.
You
Thought
know,
it was
there's a funny
tank.
story about that blue line that's going between people. So that's an ability of protection essentially from the tank archetype.
Oh,
the
from
other
the
one.
tank.
Okay.
Yeah, the blue line that's between them.
Okay. Yeah. That one.
Yeah. So funny
Oh, yeah, it's
story.
on the screen right now.
Yeah, funny story. Monday we had that 10-hour test session, and we were experiencing some server crashes. And we were inspecting our logs and taking a look at what was happening.
If you don't know already, server crashes happening in like spot tests and alpha tests happen all the time. There were times in spot tests for or not even just spot tests, but in Alpha 1 where we would have like a server crash on like a designated time, like we were supposed to test Alpha 1 from like 10 to like 6, and then the first test or the first time that we were supposed to like start playing, there's almost always a server crash for like 3 hours. So this happens all the time. It's completely normal.
We couldn't exactly see what was happening because it looked like everything on the server was running okay. And so we adjusted our logging to a more verbose setting, and we found out that the crash was the result of an infinite loop because that ability redirects damage to the tank. And during the playtest, we had some tanks that were casting that ability on each other. And so two people would have that ability cast on the opposite person. They'd take damage, and the damage would cause an infinite loop on.
That's so awesome. What an OP ability. Let me just redirect the damage to my tank. Oh, let me redirect the damage to my other tank. Oh, let me redirect that to my tank. And it just keeps going back and forth and it crashes the server. That's so funny. It's gotta like cause like a memory leak or something. That's funny.
The server between each other where the damage was getting redirected. Oh, it was good times.
The little things you don't experience until you have mass combat.
That's part of the
Yes.
fun of
But
testing too.
yeah,
Is all these like
exciting.
little quirks
There's also another
and all
one
these things that
happens when
happen.
you heal, but I see.
Yes.
Are we able to summon our caravans before the combat has ended? So some people were saying like, hey, it looks like we already are
Yeah.
winning. Could we have placed it beforehand? That way we were not
Absolutely.
sitting around waiting.
Oh,
Yeah,
hell
you can totally do that. But again, these are evaluations you need to make when you're out in the wild. By having a caravan, you are drawing attention to yourself because players can see that from a distance, from a zone, from a radius perspective, and they can choose to engage you early on. Now, another thing to take into account is when a caravan gets destroyed, its components get destroyed as well. And you have to repurchase the caravan and you have to repurchase the components. So that's
wonder
a
how
decision
expensive it
that you
is.
get to make, right? Is it worth the risk to have the caravan more readily available, or do you want to summon your caravan that has perhaps high cost components associated with it after you've ensured that the need for the caravan exists? Right, those are some decisions that need to be made. On
Just
the player,
min-max
Yeah,
it, dude.
player
because if you
character side.
don't and they have backup and they're on their way, now your caravan could potentially be
Absolutely.
destroyed too. Speaking
Yes.
of destroyed caravans, people are wondering, like, why did we make the decision that you have to destroy the caravan to get the loot instead of like taking over the caravan?
Sure.
Simple. Balance.
There is going to be ways for players to take over the driving position of vehicles. This exists for
That's pretty
both
dope.
water vehicles as well as land vehicles like caravans. However, there is a lockout period where the driver is capable of restricting use of the driver's seat essentially for a period of time. If you manage to kill everyone, you will be able to take control of the vehicle after that period of time.
Wow, that ranger
And try to
whiffed.
move it. But by doing so, you will be conferring the location of that vehicle to the original owner and potentially their raid. And after a while, it may despawn given the distance between you and the owner.
Oh, wait. That's
So you
so
wouldn't-
sick. So you can take over the caravan and drive it, but the owner of the caravan and its raid can see where you're driving it. That's actually dope.
Really get the rewards that you would want. from it.
But you can take it over.
You could
Like,
take it
taking
somewhere
it
and then
over is pretty
destroy it,
dope.
right?
Yeah.
But if you're talking about turning it in, if
Yeah.
you were to use their caravan at the node, it would turn in for them.
Oh,
So
fuck.
you don't want to take it and attempt to turn it in because it's tied to
I
the
can see
owner.
this getting
But you
fucked up
might
a
want
lot.
to take
This
it
is gonna
off
be
into
great.
a little area
There's gonna
away
be
from
some
combat per se, if you can
amazing
take control of
clips
the
off of
vehicle and destroy it there.
Gotcha.
Because people won't know.
Just wanted to
Like
clarify.
when the
'cause
game
people
launches,
might be like,
people
"Oh."
won't read that stuff.
And I see a
They won't
question
know
in
about
chat
that.
from
Yeah,
Winter
go
2. It
for it.
says, does the despawn leave the loot on the ground? Yes, that's correct. Either the destruction of the vehicle or the despawn will result in the loot being deployed to the ground or in the water, in the case of merchant ships.
I like that.
Can players instantly summon boats either as a defender or attacker during the raft building process? So
We
let's
saw
say the
that.
raft is being built and we want to deploy our boats so that we can assist, or is there only space to deploy a certain amount of boats?
So ships can only be spawned at harbor locations.
Oh,
And there's a very important note about rivers as well. Rivers can only be used by caravan rafts. Ships that are
Okay.
intended for the ocean cannot travel upstream in a river. It is too shallow, right? And that is not the
Okay.
intended gameplay there.
I like that.
But
Good,
if
good,
you're
good,
talking
good.
about the big boats, exactly, big ships, only rafts.
galleons.
Yes, only rafts, which are the conversion state of a caravan, can traverse
Now
rivers.
here's my question: can you turn your raft, like if you upgrade your caravan enough, can you turn your raft into like a defensible thing that has like qualities of a ship, like I don't know, cannons or ballista or something like that, off on the sides of it?
All right.
That's my question.
Let's see. The next one here is, does the raft take on the perks and stats from the caravan, or does it have its own? Do you have two separate stats here?
It would.
Yeah, we talked
have
a
to
little
take
bit
its
about that.
own,
Right now, there's still
right?
some design discussion around that. Currently, the stats of the raft are going to be informed by the components of the caravan, but they
should.
do have they do share the stats across right now. Whether or not we want to change.
Well, okay, so systemically, it needs to take on at least its durability and maybe its speed, but it has to take on the durability because any durability it takes during combat needs to be transferable to the raft. But maybe later on there's a system where you can have better wheels and like better speed. No, I guess you'd want to do the same thing, but like I was thinking of like having like a lesser land caravan and a superior river or like raft caravan, if there's like more waterways and stuff that you're used to like traversing. But you could just make it more simple and just make sure that it has everything transferable. So I don't really care either way, as long as it's like consistent.
Change that in the future. That's going to be a topic, obviously, of testing. All of this stuff is going to be tested as part of A2. We're
I don't
going
really
to
care
iterate
either
on
way.
it after we get that testing data from players and get
Whatever
the
they
sentiments
choose,
from
it's
players.
fine.
You guys have a opportunity now, as you're kind of seeing this system in play, even though you're not playing it per se. You get to see it in play, and you can give commentary and thoughts around it. That's why we do these streams. So make sure you're giving your thoughts on it in Discord, on the forums, and we can take a look at that.
Speaking of that, I was going to announce it later, but
Thank you for coming, Elite
after
Fargus.
this stream,
What's up?
Might be up right now. I don't know if Vacner's got it up, but the Caravan PvP preview thread will be up. So please put your feedback in there. Vacner and Roshan always do compile great reports for our teams. So
Oh, my alerts are
that
not
would
on
be
this.
fantastic if you have thoughts, because I see you all.
Whoops. Oops.
Thoughts. So type
Oh,
them
yeah,
over
it is.
there. And then
Here.
we have, do caravans in transit show on the world map? So like if I'm not part of the caravan,
They better
will I
not be.
see that there's caravans in transit, or will
no.
that only be seen by me as
I'm
the
super
personal
excited,
driver
man.
when I'm looking at the map?
You will only be able to
cannot
see the
wait for quarter
caravan
3.
if you are a member of the caravan's raid or if you are the owner of the caravan. If on the map, if you are not one of those, then you will not see it on the map. If you come within proximity of the caravan, you'll be prompted through an event UI to participate if you wish as a defender or an attacker.
Yeah,
While
so
I know
this
balance
is the thing that I was talking about. So he just said that you will be alerted in proximity of the caravan. So my major question here is like, how is corruption tied to that if you opt in to the caravan fight, and what are the ranges? And can it be abusable? And if you exit, will you have like a warning or something to say, oh, your caravan is getting too far away? If you continue fighting, you are subject to corruption and you like leave the party or something like that. Like, that'll be interesting.
Still on the table where things are not balanced. People did note that some of that cargo was in days that you would not be able to access it.
Yes.
Is that intended? And also, is that days IRL or days in game?
Yeah, I would say, I saw a lot of people saying, oh my God, days. It is intended to be days in game. However, what I will say
stole the loot.
is that, yes, but the problem is that you're going through a process. Okay, so let me explain why that throttle exists.
Okay.
So that throttle of timing out the uncrating of materials and supplies is intended to mitigate the impact on the local economy that transiting materials has within the world, right? Now, that's a runway, which means that through certain decisions that a node makes, whether it be upgrades or policies, they can reduce that amount of time significantly, right? And by creating a differential or a disparity of the amount that days would represent versus hours, you can have the nodes that select those types of upgrades and policies really become the epicenter of trade within a particular region because
Like an
they have
actual trade
reduced that
route, yeah.
days amount down to potentially hours. So it makes them a trade hub, essentially. So we need to have that
That's
variable
smart.
length of runway in order for that to be a meaningful decision on the node to exclude certain other upgrades in exchange for becoming that trade hub. Now, we want to, again, throttle the impact that the economy has to drastically change within a set period of time so that we don't undermine a lot of work that other people might have done
I'd say.
to promote a certain type of material within a node, and now it gets influxed by an outside influence, right? So that throttle exists for that reason. Now, what I will say, however, is the most easy thing to change are numerical variables, right? So when we talk about a particular design or a mechanic and we say, oh, that's days versus hours, it is easy to change that like this, right?
Yeah.
That is
It's
the
just data
intent of the
pointer,
system.
yeah.
Exactly. So when we talk about, oh my God, it's days, that's something that is going to be tested. We're going to find the right spot for that from a balance perspective, and we're going to adjust it as necessary.
Yeah, they have a lot of like ways to like create stopgaps of like, oh, an event should happen here, but let me just adjust the number on it real quick. Oh, that we overshot it. Let me just nerf it back down a little bit. Okay, we're good. It's really easy to balance when you have things like that. So I really like their design principles on like how these major systems like interact with each other and how you adjust the balance of it. Yeah, seems good to me.
All right.
Seems great.
And I know that people are, I think it was more of whether it was in-game days versus IRL days were what we.
It is
concerned about.
that was intended to be IRL, right? Any type of numerical value that is attempting to communicate to the player how much time they need to wait is almost always going to be in real life time, because we don't want to put you through the hassle of having to equate what the
Okay, perfect.
transition is from real life time to in-game time.
All right. And then kind of showed something on the stream that people haven't seen before, and that was stealth a little bit.
Yes, correct. Yes.
People are wondering how the stealth mechanic works. I don't know if you're ready to kind of share that
No,
information.
absolutely. So, we talk about certain types of utility skills, and we've talked about stealth in the past. Technically, what the ranger has is not true stealth. It's called camouflage. And camouflage works a bit differently. At a distance, you will see a slight Sorry, my mind can't think right now. You will see
Like a shimmer,
slight shader
glimmer.
effect on the character, where you'll be able to kind of see Predator style where they are. The closer they get, that will
This is a
become more
UE5
apparent.
thing,
If they
too.
get too close, you'll be able to see them. At any distance, you can click to target them, and there are some additional abilities that can counter that, such as the mage has an arcane eye ability, which reveals stealth or camouflage characters within a distance. So it's not like a rogue's true stealth where they can be at stealth within a very close proximity to characters and still not be detected. The ranger has to be at a distance from a character in order to be stealthed.
Okay, so a lot to unpack there. So camouflage in a close proximity should be able to be seen visibly. The way I can equate camouflage and like true invisibility is the best way possible is like through League of Legends, because they do it similarly. Like Evelynn is camouflaged, Twitch Q is camouflaged. When they press their ability, they basically go invisible until they reach a certain proximity. I would say that this shader effect needs to be dialed towards Intrepid's intended visibility at certain ranges. And I don't think it's dialed yet, because it doesn't seem to be like that effective. And like once you get within a certain range, you can easily see them. They're still camouflaged, quote unquote, but you can still see them pretty effectively. So once they dial down the ranges on that, and that's a pretty easy thing to balance as well. The number thing, not a big deal, but I do think they need to definitely adjust those as they are right now. They did say that rogues will have true invisibility, which is really good. Rogue would not be a rogue without it. However, it depends on if it's how long can they be invisible around somebody, you know? Like, I feel like it takes less skill without that being a cooldown, you know? Like the camouflage thing for the ranger seems like I don't know if it's a mana thing. I don't know if it's a stamina thing. But right now it just seems like a click on, click off type of ability. I like that, but at the same time, it removes skill and skill expression and timing and stuff like that, and allows people to be quite ratty, to be honest. If you allow that camouflage as like a click on, click off, I would say they have to be stationary, without greatly affecting their visibility. That's how I would balance it, I think.
Distortion. Thank you. Some people are saying distortion and diffraction.
Yeah, works.
There's a lot of moving pieces up here. Sometimes they get lost. The index rate is
We knew what you meant.
I'm sure.
We all saw it. The next one here, and this is probably the last one because we need to move on to wrapping things up. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. Is can you send out an empty caravan as a decoy? Is that an option?
Yes, you can. However, there are visual indicators on what the caravan might be carrying versus how full it might be.
Perfect.
And so in order to effectively create decoy caravans, there is progression that's allotted through one of our social organizations. One of our social organizations have the ability to provide unique vendor lists and craft lists of crates that can be empty but look full. And so if you want to advance in that particular social organization, you could then create decoy caravans more effectively, as well as decoy merchant ships.
Hell yeah.
And as a
That's
reminder,
gotta be Thieves Guild, Black Market stuff.
Thread Caravan PvP preview. Please head on over there. Toss us your feedback. We would love to have that. Our wonderful community team, Roshan and Fakner, will be compiling.
It seemed like less of a PvP thing than more of a caravan thing.
If you have thoughts about what you saw today, that is the best place for us to compile it. Of course,
because you can't really talk about PvP without talking about balance, and balance is not a real thing yet
for us when we're compiling things.
So it's kind of hard to talk about the PvP aspect, but I like the overarching idea of Caravan PvP.
A crazy just even month for the game industry as a whole. We've had a lot of,
Yes.
I've seen a lot of friends getting laid off. It's been really
Mhm.
rough for folks.
Yes. Yeah, it has been. I just want to obviously talk a little about players. I know that in our community, you may see articles that talk a little bit about this. You might be aware of it. It is a difficult time in our industry right now. I think there was a figure that came out recently talking about 1/3 of individuals within the industry have suffered some form of a layoff over the course of this last year.
Third is
and it's
11% of Riot's company.
Obviously there's a level of corporate responsibility that's necessary to try and mitigate these types of occurrences. And it is a unique circumstance between what happened with COVID, the influx of investment into the industry, and those investments perhaps not panning out like they thought they were over the course of the last few years. That's created a bit of a cliff there. But what I would say is we at Intrepid are very mindful of how this impact is affecting our beloved fellow developers from these very talented teams across the industry. And what I would say is the same thing that I've said over the course of these last several months for you guys in the audience who watch us. Intrepid is hiring, and Intrepid is a very close-knit family, a group of friends and developers. We have an attrition rate of less than 2% year over year, which is something that we pride ourselves in, because the individuals who make these games are the true investment. And for them to be dismissed from their passion, from their livelihood, from the groups that they are building a connection with is a really sad thing to see. And so, if you're able to help us get the word out there for those individuals to know that there is a potential recourse in Intrepid, we have a number of positions open. We will do our part to try to help those people as much as we can. We have a great HR team who are assisting in going through the many different applications we get to the studio. Even if you don't see a position open that's relevant to you, you are welcome to apply as a general application, and we will evaluate that and see if there is an ability to take you on. We are in a unique position, right? We're not beholden to a board that's going to, cancel a greenlit project 5 years or 6 years after development with a team of hundreds of people, right? that's not something that we're subject to. We have a very dedicated focus on Ashes of Creation as our flagship product. We have a dedicated audience and a group of players that we know are waiting very patiently and lovingly for us to develop this game as we show you each month our progress.
I'm about to reach Nirvana,
but
my
what I would
enlightenment
say
is very, very close.
if you
with
see
how much patience I
developers
have with
out
this.
on the Twitter sphere or whatever it is, X sphere, on LinkedIn, on social media, whatever, give them your support, right? It could just be verbal support. It could just be, a pick me up from their fans, which is
You're
why,
doing great.
we make these games. Is because we want to see the excitement on people's faces. And unfortunately, right now, those people who are doing that for you guys, for us as players, are going through some hard times.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about in regards to our studio and what we're doing and what we've got going on?
We are hitting the ground running this year. This first month was a doozy.
They set a
we
date.
We are currently in
the
our
first time in a
hardening
year.
week and preparing for next
Or 2
sprint.
years.
There is a lot of stuff to
3
do.
years.
And we are getting at it. So kudos to the Intrepid team. A lot of hard work went into this.
Alpha
Obviously,
1
this
was
live
3
stream,
years
getting these
ago.
systems
That's
ready
crazy to me.
for Alpha 2. Michael Brady, Devon, Tommy, Chris Justo, Hal on the VFX side with Scott and Siva, and I can't name all the names. There's a lot of names there, but what I will say is that team did a phenomenal job. The production staff, Nathan, great job. You guys did. I mean, this was to quote the more familiar colloquialisms of our generation today, a banger. I'm sorry, this is my boomer coming out, but regardless, it was really cool to see. You guys did a great job.
But yeah, thank you.
Steven
all so
released
much.
a banger the
We're
other
gonna
day.
Move on to some
The Bard
character
video?
art. Ooh, I started with the end one. Well,
Tarlock.
you get the end one.
I think that's his name, right?
So,
Tarlock?
Sam Perrin, who's been an amazing concept artist,
Cyclops?
who's joined us, has been me creating some art pieces, and one of them was a Tumok piece. And
Tumok.
I also wanted to give a little teaser because I know there has been a lot of people asking about merchandise and things like that. We are working very diligently on merchandise stuff. And one of the things that we think would be cool, and I also kind of wanted to gauge your guys' interest, is a piece like this being a puzzle, like a puzzle that you can actually put together and things like that. So we do have some art pieces that
sure
we
you
would
could
like
do
to
that.
turn into puzzle
I think
pieces. So if
plushies
that's
and
something
stuff
that
is
you think
probably
would
going to
really
be
cool, do let us know.
more desired,
in your
considering that
feedback.
Ashes has like a lot
if
of
not for you, that's okay too. There'll be plenty of things you can wear. I think, well, you know, things that people wear
different,
is
unique
what people want, mugs,
beasts
things like that.
that you normally don't
Yeah,
see in video
that's-
games. So
this is
I
a
think
wonderful piece of
they'll be able to create a lot of
Tumok.
stuff like with their mounts
Love
and
it.
stuff
It's
like
beautiful.
that.
Sam did a
The
great job with
Snorse.
this.
And then
Snorse's
the next couple
merch,
pieces
crazy.
here are in regards to concept. So VFX also gets concept art for their visual effects, and kind of right in line with this little guy here. This
Oh,
is
that's
a
sick.
shaman cyclops, and they're doing like call a dire spirit is kind of
Oh, that's
call
dope.
the dire spirits type of thing. And so you can kind of see
That's
the
oh
different
wait,
transitions
is
of the
that's related to the summoner?
VFX that they're working towards. And they do many different variations of these
very
things
close to summoning
kind
now.
of come up with the decision. And we have a wonderful director of art now. I think
Jim.
I like the
yes,
little arrows, like you
our
can't
art
tell.
director. Jim is now taking the reins of our art direction at Intrepid, and he is doing a phenomenal job so far.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of just show little pieces. I know we've shown a lot of concept art pieces, but not necessarily when it comes to VFX. But you know, this is meant for the cleric ability. But even when it comes to those pieces, those visual effects that you're seeing, we
Those are
do
pretty
make
sick.
concept art for those.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes they're making quick. Our designers will make quick animations and quick VFX, and those sometimes are ones you guys are seeing whenever it's not finalized classes. But as we get further along, it gets to these stages where we're actually, you know, finalizing and picking the ones that we really want, and they put a lot of love and heart into it. And then the last piece is our wonderful Peering Loris. This is the 3D model
Like
of the
a
Peering
plushie of that would be
Loris.
fucking amazing.
So for those of you who got that, I'm sure you'll love it. The hands are so creepy, but
They are
so
really
into it.
creepy.
I can't wait to see the variations that the designers.
I've actually
come up
bought
with
so many of the
and
I love
cosmetics.
its
I
eyes.
don't
Yeah.
know
And
what
its
I
little
have and
weird
what I don't have.
semi-Ferengi looking ears.
Yeah, cool. Our artists
I'm
always
getting
kill
close
it.
to my League of
And
Legends
with that, we're gonna
skin
wrap up
compilation
and do
or
just our
skin.
Q&A. We'll try to get through as many
buying.
as we can.
Q&A,
but I know we
the
do have
best
to be
part.
conscious of Steven's time. And in the background, I'll just play the video that we had of our Caravan PvP.
I don't even know what I was trying
I
to
think
say.
if you want to grab the top 5 questions, maybe
All right,
would be
we'll
good.
do the 5. I mean, they're randomly generated or randomly
Okay,
selected from
that's fine.
forums. But our first forum person is Castai, and they want to know about freehold customization. Will players be able to shift the terrain, such as by raising, lowering, or leveling it within their freeholds?
No, that is not currently the intent behind terrain. You will not be able to adjust the world terrain. However, there will be a variable degree of slope. That's an acceptable placement position for different buildings, and those will be facilitated through a general stilt approach to building to placeable buildings.
All right. And Nick Ross wants to know about resurrection. Will mass resurrection methods work in combat?
Yes, there will be mass resurrection abilities. Some of those abilities will be conferred to vehicles slash ships, as well as player character archetype abilities.
And they'll work in combat or only out of
Yes,
combat? Okay.
there will be excuse me, they will be in combat abilities.
Okay. And then Leonardo wants to.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Leonardo.
I just saw the way it was spelled.
I just see a lot of
wants to know about
imbalance with
caravan
mass
interactions.
resurrection.
If it turns out that the caravan PvP is very uncommon, would you try to incentivize it more, or would you just leave caravans as a vehicle for commerce and focus on the whatever other things that people are interested in?
That's a good question. You know, it is a more I think, design philosophy question, right? If you have an intent for a system and that system is not yielding that intent, then the question is, what is it yielding? And is it yielding something that is fun? Is it yielding something that players want, right? In that regard, then you might have stumbled upon through design, through the magic of iteration and play testing, something that players want. And perhaps there's a way to deliver the intent you missed out on in another fashion, right? Vice versa of that approach, if the system is not providing the type of gameplay that is intended, especially with a game like an MMORPG and like our MMORPG, which is highly intricate with the types of interconnectivities we want between systems, then it can be missing an integral component of the player experience and the overarching design, in which case we would need to adapt. And sometimes that adaptation can include additional incentives or reward tables, as you posited in the question, or vice versa, a different approach entirely. So it's hard to answer that hypothetical because it depends on the data we get back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then the next.
So
one is
basically, the answer is, if a system is not working as intended, 1, is it fun? 2, does it need to change? And like, is it being abused or not? That's what I mean by like, does it need to change? And then the last part would probably be like, do they want to steer player interaction with said system in a different direction? And mostly that could be decided by the first 2 things, which is it fun and is it abusable?
Who wants to know about organizations? Is the team developing social and religious organizations in a modular way so that player-created ones could be made to exist later on?
We are not developing those in a modular way because there is a very specific intent for those disparate paths. And they are unique paths of progression that's intended both with a religious system as well as the social organization. And there are certain reward structures that live at the end of those paths, or at the top of those paths, you might say, that we might not want to leave in the hands of players to modularize.
Gotcha.
Not that it's not something we can do, but rather keeping containers for certain types of reward structures helps to guard against
that's totally fine.
more
players are gonna fuck it
balance
up.
breaking issues.
It's totally fine to do that. Yeah.
All right, and our last one here is from Frost01, wants to know about animal taming. Will creatures be able to be used as mounts or combat pets right after they are tamed, or do they need to go through like the animal husbandry process first?
They will have to go through the animal husbandry process first. There will be. It's not just taming that introduces mounts and or pets to players. Those can also be introduced through quests, in which case those particular creatures will not need to go through the animal husbandry system. Animal husbandry system addresses creatures that are obtained either through hunting or as a resource gathering.
All right. And that wraps up our questions from the forums. Again, as always, thank
Nice.
you all for submitting your questions. We super duper appreciate it. And if your question didn't get answered here, often it's because your question has been already something that we've answered, and Wagner does a great job of
skip
replying
towards
to you
something.
and letting you know where you can find the answer to your question, or sometimes straight up answering your question.
The outro is pretty basic from here. Go like on the forums, share your feedback, yada yada yada. But I saw something up here. I want to play it.
Help us out. Get to leave us a comment, and also mention all of the places on things like this. So says we are Ashes of Creation, all of the places. We try to post frequently, so come hang out with us and chat with us, and so you don't miss out on things like this. If I can hit the button.
Uh-oh. Let's fucking go! such a banger, man. As Steven put it, a banger indeed. No. Everything looks great. I love the way the direction everything is going. I think most of my worries are within classes, class skills, balancing. And a lot of it is going to be about the world and the world itself and how it interacts. And I won't really know until I play it, because they're definitely not going to be like, they're putting leashes on lore. They're putting leashes on like what the game is actually going to be about. And that's normal, right? For game development. You don't want to come out with everything. Oh, thank you for coming, Zucchini. I actually missed that. But yeah, once they really come through with all of this stuff, they don't want to like show all that to the world. You don't want to play a game that you already know everything about. There has to be some mystery. That's fine. I'm really excited to play. So yeah. Anyways, that was the Ashes live dev update. Let me know what you guys think.